All right, let's talk about one of the most ambitious and frankly obsessive builders in all of history, King Herod the Great. And our guide for this journey is the ancient historian Flavius Josephus. He wrote down the details of Herod's works almost 2,000 years ago, and through his eyes, we're going to see how a king can literally build his legacy in solid stone. Let's dive.
So everything we're looking at today, it all comes from this single chapter. And what's amazing is that Josephus isn't just giving us some boring list of construction projects. No, he's painting this incredible portrait of a king's raw ambition, his political genius, and his obsession with creating something that would outlast empires.
Okay, first things first, you gotta understand the world Herod was living in. He wasn't some all-powerful, independent monarch, not even close. He was a client king for Rome, which basically means his power, his throne, his very survival depended entirely on keeping these guys, the most powerful men in the world, happy. And Herod's #1 tool for doing that? Architecture.
So where do you even start with a guy like this? Well, you have to start with his most famous project of all, the absolutely massive, grand-scale rebuilding of the Second Temple in Jerusalem. Josephus tells us the sheer scale of it was just mind-blowing. The cost was astronomical, and the riches were, in his own words, unspeakable. I mean, this project alone would have cemented his name in history forever. But here's the crazy part. It was only the beginning.
So, how did he do it all? Well, our first section gets right to the heart of Herod's whole strategy. It's called Building for Rome, and it's all about securing power through architecture. See, for him, putting up these incredible buildings wasn't just about art or culture. It was a deadly serious tool of politics, his direct line to the big bosses in Rome.
And this quote from Josephus really says it all. What's so amazing here is what it tells us about Herod's political genius. He knew that loyalty wasn't enough if nobody could see it. It had to be visible. It had to be loud. So by plastering Caesar's name on temples, cities, and fortresses, he was constantly sending a message back to Rome. I'm your guy. I'm useful. It was basically a kingdom-wide PR campaign written in stone.
And man, was he systematic about it. Just look at this list. He renamed an entire city Sebaste, which is just the Greek way of saying Augustus, and, of course, plunked a massive temple to him right in the middle of it. The main fortress protecting Jerusalem, named the Antonia for his patron, Mark Antony. He even named apartments in his own palace after Caesar and Agrippa. The guy left absolutely nothing to chance.
But all those projects, as impressive as they were absolutely dwarfed by his single greatest engineering achievement. This was a project so unbelievably audacious that Josephus talks about it like it was a victory over nature itself. We're talking about the incredible port city of Caesarea Maritima.
Which brings us to this huge question. How does a ruler literally command the sea itself? I mean, think about it. Herod looks at this dangerous, storm-tossed piece of coastline, a place with zero natural protection, and just decides, yeah, I'm going to build one of the best ports in the entire Roman world, right here. The ambition is it's staggering. And Josephus really paints a picture of just how tough this was. This wasn't just a slightly inconvenient spot. It was actively hostile. He talks about these violent south winds that would just whip up these monster waves, crashing into the shore. It was the kind of place that sailors would do anything to avoid. There was simply no safe place for a ship to hide.
And then comes the punchline from Josephus. He says, the king overcame nature. Notice he doesn't just say he built the harbor. No, the language is that he conquered the sea. And to give us a sense of just how big a deal this was, he says it was even bigger and better than the Piraeus, the legendary port of Athens. So this wasn't just some local project. This was Herod making a statement to the entire world.
So how on earth did he pull it off? Well, Josephus actually gives us the play-by-play. He talks about them sinking these colossal stones, some of them 50 feet long, into 20 fathoms of open water. That's 120 feet deep. They did this to create a massive artificial breakwater. Then on top of this brand new ground they'd literally created out of the sea, they built towers, docks, the whole shebang. And the cherry on top? A stunning temple overlooking the harbor, dedicated to his patron, Caesar, with a giant statue of him inside.
Now Herod wasn't just building to impress his Roman bosses. Oh no. He was just as focused, maybe even more focused, on building for his own family. He wanted to make sure the names of his father, his mother, and his brother would be remembered forever, literally set in stone.
And you can see here, it's like he created a family map across the whole kingdom. For his dad, Antipater, he built an entire city, Antipatris. For his mom, Cyprus, a super strong fortress called Cyprus. And for his brother, Phasaelus, he went all out. A huge, magnificent tower in Jerusalem and another city named Phasaelus.
Every single one of them got their own major landmark. And of course, for himself, he built the ultimate monument, Herodium. This thing was everything: a fortress, a palace, and the place he planned to be buried. Josephus's description is just wild. He says Herod built a man-made hill, shaped it like a breast, stuck incredible palaces on top, and then built a grand staircase of 200 white marble steps to get there. Talk about a statement of power. This was his monument for all time.
Okay, so when you take a step back and look at everything, the political tributes, the crazy engineering feats, the family monuments, what does it all tell us? What kind of a guy was Herod, really? What was the character behind all this construction?
Well, for one thing, his generosity was just staggering. And it wasn't just for his own kingdom or for the Romans. Josephus tells us he was building stuff in foreign cities too, places like Damascus and Tyre. He even paved the filthy, muddy streets of Antioch. And get this, he single-handedly bailed out the Olympic Games with his own money when they were about to go bankrupt. He was building a reputation across the entire known world.
But Josephus really wants us to understand that there were two sides to this king. On the one hand, you have this super sophisticated builder, this brilliant diplomat. But on the other hand, he was a tough, rugged man of action. Josephus makes a special point of telling us he was an excellent hunter. He apparently caught 40 wild animals in one day. And as a warrior, he was not to be withstood in a fight. This guy was a man of both marble and muscle, for sure.
And that really brings us to the final big question, doesn't it? The stones Herod laid, many of them are still standing today. You can go see them. They're an undeniable testament to his incredible vision. But Josephus's account here focuses only on these magnificent works. We know Herod is called the Great because of what he built, but we also know his rule was full of paranoia and incredible brutality. So what really defines a legacy in the end? Is it the grand things a ruler builds, or is it the other things they do? That's the one question all that stone and marble can't answer for us.